Welcome, this is Edexcel C4 June 2008. This is question number 5. Okay, and it's a binomial expansion question through and through. The first part asks us to expand that. Now, it's going to be quite hard to just expand 1 over something, okay? We're more used to seeing something like, I don't know, 1 plus ax to the power n, okay? We're not used to seeing all this 1 over stuff. Well, you should be if you've done enough past papers, but really, what this is showing, because when we've got 1 over x, it's equal to x to the power of -1, just in the C rule, basically. So therefore, we expand 4 take 3x all to the power of -1/2. However, the rule that we use, or that you're supposed to use in A2, is 1 plus ax all to the power n is equal to 1 plus an, etc, etc. Now, this is not in the form 1 plus ax to the power n, this is in the form 4 plus ax. Now it's take ax, but the principle stands to the power n, okay? We have to use this method because it's the power of -1/2. It's not a whole, it's not a positive integer. In other words, it's not a whole number, positive number, okay? So we have to use, we have to be able to convert it somehow, okay? So what we do is we divide it all by 4. Another better way to think about it is take 4 out as a common factor. Okay, so we take 4 out as a common factor, then we divide it all by 4 on the inside, so we get 1 take 3x on 4. So it remains to the power of -1/2. But when we take out this 4, the power goes with the 4. Okay, so it's 4 to the power of -1/2. Okay, so it's just 1 over 4 square root. That gets us a half times 1 take 3x on 4 all to the power of -1/2, which we can now expand. Okay, so a couple of ways you could do this. You could go just expand 1 take 3x over 4 all to the power of -1/2, or you could just and then times it by 1/2, or you could just keep the half with it and then times all your answers by 1/2. Okay, I'm going to do the latter. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to rewrite out this bit of information here. So it's a half 1 take 3x over 4 all to the power of -1/2. Now it might be a good idea at this point to write down, compare it, obviously you're comparing it to 1 plus ax to the power n. So you write what a and n are, okay? A is, don't forget, it's not just, even though we've wrote ax, it's actually a is equal to -3x over 4, n is equal to -1/2. So therefore we sub in into our equation. Remember to keep the half out the front because we've got to time this expansion by 1/2, remember? And the expansion is 1 plus an, or a being -3x over 4. So it's -3x over 4 times -1/2. Now I know that's going to come out to positive 3x over 8, but we're going to leave it as we need to go on. Okay, and then it's times, it's plus n brackets n, it's brackets n take 1. Okay, so it's a -1/2 take 1, which is -3 over 2. Okay, that's all over the factorial of 2, so 2 times 1, and we times that by a squared, which you just write -3x over 4 all squared. Okay, and you close the brackets. Now, because it's only asking us to expand it up to x squared, obviously that's going to get us a term in x squared. We don't need to go any further. Okay, so then it's just a case of expanding all this. So I'll move that out of the way. Okay, so obviously the first term remains as 1, and then we get plus 3x over 8, and then we simplify that down, so just I've got the answers, to 27x squared all over 128. Okay, so therefore we times all of this by 1/2, so that obviously gets us 1 times 1/2 is, weirdly enough, 1/2, and then it's 3x over 16, okay, and then it's 27x squared over 256, okay, so that's your expansion. Okay, so that's the answer to part A. Really, it's a typical binomial expansion question you would see in C4. It's got all the main characteristics of it, okay, so we've had to move it up to the top, make the power negative, and take 4 out as a common factor. But we are missing something out here in terms of, that's the right answer, but this next part B finishes off testing up most of our understanding of binomial expansion C4 edition. I should have called that my topic revision video. I would have probably got, actually if I'd have made it like some nude scene, title it, not actually make it nude, that's weird. Yeah, so if I'd have created anyway, I'll shut up before I say something stupid. Okay, so this next question, part of the question even, asks us to expand x plus 8 over, so it still asks us to expand it to x square, yeah, as a prox for the first 3 terms, okay? So it's x plus 8 over 4 take 3x all to the power of negative half, or over the square root of 4 take 3x. Okay, now that is scarily similar to this equation at the top. Now, it'd be very hard just to do the binomial expansion of that straight away, I think you'd admit. So, I'm going to split it up into sort of an equation, if that makes some kind of sense, okay? So, the first part is x plus 8 over 1, okay? And we times that to by 1 over 4 take 3x all to the power of negative half, okay? And if you were to times them together, you would end up with this answer. But obviously I've split it up into an equation for a reason. Now this here is exactly the same as this. So we're going to sub in our answer for this, 1 over 4 take 3x all to the power of a half, into here. I'm going to times it by x plus 8 over 1, or in other words, just x plus 8. Okay, so what we're going to do therefore is just plus x plus 8, and then we're going to times it all by this answer. Okay, so it's x plus 8 brackets half plus 3x over 16 plus 27x squared over 256. And at this point, you're kind of glad that the exam has a calculator in it, unless you like, you're just quite logical. Okay, so we just simply expand it all now. So I'm going to times this all by x first. So x times a half is obviously x over 2. And then we get plus 3x squared on 16, okay? And then we x times 27x squared over 256, which gets us 27x cubed over 256. Now it only asks for the first 3 terms in ascending order, so increasing. But we're going to expand it all, and then we can just rewrite it as the first 3 terms afterwards to make sure we're not missing anything out. But you can be a risky child if you want to. And then it's 8 times a half, 8 over 2. Now I know that's 4, but just keeping with the theme of keeping it nice and simple. Okay, so the calculator, you add 24x over 16, and then the final term is 72x squared over 256. Okay, and then, so if you simplify that down, so make that 4, and shove it all together, and then you should get 4 plus 2x plus 33x squared on 32, sorry. Is that right? Yep, as the final answer. Okay? Now, as I said, we discount this x cubed. We know it's part of it, but it's only asking us for the first 3 terms, which is obviously the integer, the x squared are the first 3 terms. Okay? Now, it's not saying these 3 terms. It's the first terms in accordance to x, basically, that have an association with x. If that makes some kind of sense. Now, this 4 is 4x to 0. But you just ignore me now if I'm confusing you. Okay, so 4x is 0, it's the same as 4. Okay, so it's in the ascending powers of x, that's why I put 4 at the start. Obviously you knew that, but just in case, I was messing with your mind, which I do often, so anyway. That's it for question 5, it's a nice 9 marks. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you in another video. Unless I've killed you in this one, which I must apologise to your families, I am quite sorry for the inconvenience.